Welcome along. It's the grand final of Series 6. The Winter Series coming to an end tonight. Race 6.13. They are fortnightly, so there's 26 a year, split into two series. Series 7 starting not in 2 weeks' time, but next week. We're spreading it across two platforms going forward, so we'll be here on Wahoo RGT and also on Cade Sport. You can do the same race either week, and there are the details and the dates. As I say, if you're an RGT person, this is a series for you. And if you want to try out Cade, there's a series there for you too. There is a big playoff final on Thursday, 5th of October. But who's going to win this one? Well, it's Nick Greenhalgh's to lose now. About to place 35 points behind. Nick's going to have to finish more than, well, probably about 40th for Wouter Claes to win. But look at third and fourth in the general classification. John Sammer, 1,092. Jan van Noorden at 1,091. That is going to be a tussle, John versus Jan. Also look over at the ladies. Caroline Reuter and Serena Race fairly safe there, I think. But Claire Miller has had some very bad luck in fourth place, dropping out the last couple of races. She could potentially take Laura Whittingham's third place, and I know everybody at Twickenham CC is rooting for her. Big hi to Lisa West, who I know is watching from Twickenham. Teams wise, No Pins R3R are going to win the the main team series. React Women, and remember there's 3 React Women in the top 3 in Ladies League. So really I think it's those third places that are at stake tonight. Nick Greenhalgh will want to ensure that Wouter doesn't pinch anything from him, so dropouts are probably his biggest fear. But John Sammet versus Jan van Noorden is the big one, and Claire Miller versus Laura Whittingham in the Ladies League. So let's look out for that. Let's go over the start line and see how we're getting on. This is the Hillingdon circuit that we'll be racing. 11 laps of this. This is a real life purpose-built cycling circuit. And you can see it's got that little sort of omega-shaped inlet, which has got a very small climb. So you go into, from the start, you go up a climb, round that little omega-shaped bend, you go down and then back up again and round, and then a long straight and a short straight before the finish. 11 times, and you'll see lots of the action because, of course, riders will get laps in this. You see it's reasonably flat. There's about 10 metres climbing per lap. But the little ramp at the end of the Omega Bend is the one where the attacks will take place. And you can see that sort of right in the top right-hand corner as it goes inside, comes back out again to get the main trajectory of the oval. That's where the ramp is. The main road along the side there is a road that when it was being built had lots of cycle races, and when they finally opened up to traffic, they decided to build a cycle track next to it because of the popularity of the cycling. 71 riders online. We have 31 seconds to go, and as I say, 11 laps of this. It starts on a bend. It doesn't in real life, but that's just kind of the way the app works it. Mate Stuart Gillies in there, TC from Twickenham, James Melville I see, Ned Bowen from Chicago in there, Gautam Thacker, Serena Race from React in the ladies also on the starting line. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2, 1, and off they go, and it's straight up this gentle slope. So it's not the easiest of starts, and if you can get some good, John Sammer right at the front, Nick Greenhalgh as well. Both of these two guys need to get a good result today to preserve their position. Jan Aaron is in the lead at the moment, though. Just in front of Greenhalgh and Sammer. I think they're going to absolutely burn themselves out to make sure they hold on to their positions in the general classification. And of course, we will be sending out all the little trophies to everybody in due course. Nick Greenhalgh riding for Ratio Racing. You can see the black and orange kit. Is that James Melville on the outside in the GCN kit? It probably is. Jan Linden from Pokemotion now currently on the front. Paul Hinson just taking a turn now as we go up towards the ramp. Now this is where we get the ramp, and as I say, they've just gone over the ramp. Not too many attacks. I think you'll see second and third lap, you'll start seeing people drop off on that little ramp, but everybody full of energy in the first lap as we go around the bus pass at the top of the track, and then into the there's a couple of sort of jinx in the track, and then we get a long straight back down to where the clubhouse is. So I have seen, as I say, in lap 11 a couple of series ago, Wouter Claes did a great escape on the long straight, and I think everybody dithered and he got away and won handsomely. King Tubby now on the front now, the Australian rider, and we've got only behind him Alistair McAlpine in there and Stevie Cooper as well for Glasgow United. So 3 Glasgow United riders, I suspect, in there tonight. So this hasn't broken up too much. I mean, there's probably quite a large, we've got 70 riders still online, and there's probably sort of 30 or 40 in that front bunch. Marian Marasek now from Poland on the front. He's from Wrocław, I believe. And Nick Greenhalgh is now taking up the front with Penel Walagura just behind him. Marian Marasek in there, taking turns on the front. Another Ratio rider. Ratio, a well-coordinated team. I'm pretty sure they're communicating on Discord. And Marian will be making sure that Nick gets around to take the title. Again, a previous winner, of course. C. Jones at 39th. As we have a little look back, we see the gap there between 39th and 38th, 60 metres. So that's a split. The front 40s, you got them Thacker's in there, which is great. Wouter Claes in there. Ray Wilson, I see. But there is this gap now back to Jones riding there for Moon Riders. Sutherland at 41. You can see these are people who've probably been dropped out of that group. They will form their own little group if they can, I'm sure. Snazzy Pastel there in the Lou Ricks team kit. And Brett Smith now, 44, in the West London kit. And this group could get together. This is around the bottom of the Omega Bend. Watch as they go up this little ramp they're about to hit. This is where the attacks are. It's not a big ramp, but it's just enough to cause, if you do a little bit of an attack on there, you can drop people. So let's see if they all get together. Claire Miller for Twickenham there is just behind Serena Ace. And I think we're watching each other like hawks. It's Laura Whittingham, though, that Claire needs to beat. And she needs to beat by quite a few points. Claire now, as I say, working with Serena. Serena in the same team, of course, as Laura Whittingham. And Jessen there, the Dane, Nick's back. I haven't seen where Laura Whittingham is. I see Daniel Gaunt down there. Interesting to see Bard here. Tim Cummins behind there. This is the front group. Tim Cummins in the front group then. That's great news. Local rider. Bard way off the front though. This is running for No Pins 3R. That's quite a big gap, and it's probably quite early in the race. We've only done a couple of laps, so I don't think that will hold. We have seen breakaways win this before, but not this early, I would say. So, what we've got, there's John Sammet still in there, we would assume so. There's Jan van Oudenaarde in there, we would assume so. Haven't actually identified them yet, so we did see John Sammet earlier on, didn't we? He tore away at the front. I see Simon Hall in there for Watford Velo. Good to see you riding, Simon. I'm sure you're probably listening, actually. Hope you enjoyed your little trip out to Mallorca. I know it's absolutely pouring with rain around here at the moment, isn't it? So I guess that's why you. And there's Jan Havana, 11th place at the moment. So we know that Jan's in that front group, and we know that John Sammet is a gap of 2 places in Jan's favour, and John will lose 3rd place on the podium. This is going to be tight. Simon Hall's still in there, 5th place behind Steve Brawley now. As Bard has now got 44 metre gap, so it's quite a lot. And if we look from the aerial view, you can see how big that is. And as I say, I think that's still quite early, but it is spreading, and this is causing a little bit of a spread. You know, the pack isn't quite the bunch it was, is it? It's likely to lose someone off the back. You can see a couple of riders just slightly off the back. This is the attrition. Aaron in there, Andrzej Kajewski in that front group for Ratio Racing. Is Bard going to hold this? Looks like the gap might be closing a little bit as they lap a back rider. There'll be quite a lot of lapping, so everybody gets a good view of this. Bard now, it's down to 20 metres. He's being reeled in. Nick Greenhalgh leading the charge. In fact, just behind Andrzej Kajewski, another Ratio rider. As I say, they're very coordinated at Ratio Racing. They will make sure that they look after Nick. Liam Bard now, just getting caught and no pins 3R. He'll settle back into that group. I think he's a decent rider. He won't get dropped. That effort he'll take that in his stride, we'd like to think, as we complete another lap. So it's 3 laps out of 11. Andre Kajewski and Ray Wilson off the front now. Ray riding for no pins 3R. Kajewski, of course, whole living in Manchester and riding for Ratio Racing. Tim Cummins in there, I see still. Nick Greenhouse, Sesson in there, who's done well in a few of these races. Stevie Cooper, Glasgow United, Kamal Waligora in there at 10th, Tim Cummins at 11th, doing really, really well for Westerly. Ray Wilson now off the front, so no pins are leading the charges. Ken Tubby just behind, I say just behind, there's a gap of 17 metres. I don't think that's a lot, but we're going down Omega Bend now. You look on the right, you can see where the big blue blob is. Now you go round that, and Ray is just about, he has lapsed another rider there, and he's just going up now. This is the ramp, and maybe they'll catch him. You see, sometimes it's worth breaking away just before the ramp, because if you get a little bit of an advantage, you won't get dropped. Everybody will just catch you. So, but Ray's held that. He's held that. There's a decent gap there. I don't think it'll stay like that forever. Richard Acker's in that group. I see Ned Bowen in there from Chicago, and so Johan Aaron, who we mentioned before. I say Richard Acker's down as Riak in there, and Jan van Oudenaarde is still in there. Just is John Sammet. John Sammet isn't. That is a bit of a turnaround, and Simon Hall in there. We can see Royal Rocket Renilde is in there. Just can't see John Sammet's name. Is he in there? The group's quite big. It hasn't thinned out entirely, and I would expect him to be in there. Maybe he's just playing. Steve Riley's in there. Jan Linden. Still can't see John Sammet's name. Ingmar van Beurs, ran on the Ratio rider. There's 2 van Beurs riding for Ratio in the team. And as I say, it's just sort of looking for John Sammet's name, and I'm not seeing it. Quite worrying for John. Great for Jan van Oudenaarde though. And Andy Beale in there at 10th at the moment. I see. Just looking at the names. Kamal Waligora, we've mentioned. Simon Hall from Watford. Velo in there. I'm not sure if there's any other Watford Velo riders in there at the moment, but certainly Simon in there riding well. And Ray's pulled out 40 metres here. This is quite substantial. I think it's quite early in the race. We're only on lap 4 out of 11, so I'm not sure that's the best tactic. But as we've said in many of these races, what you do by doing this is you stretch it out and you thin the bunch, because it puts pressure on the bunch. The pressure on the bunch means the people on the back, the slightly weaker riders, will get to a point where there's a gap. If you fall off the back of one of these bunches, it is very, very hard to get back on. Where is John Sammet? I saw a Pokemotion rider. I'm looking for the Pokemotion shirts as well. But there we are. Johan Aaron now chasing down Ray Wilson back down to 23, 22 metres. I think Ray's going to get pulled in at least by Johan Aaron, and Nick Greenhouse is just behind too. So Wouter Clay's in there, and unless something happens to Nick, I think Wouter Clay is going to have to set off the runner-up. Wouter Clay's, of course, though, looks set to get the 6 of the best prize. That's your best 6 races. There's also a prize for your best 12, the best of 12. This will be the last series we do that one, because it kind of got replaced by the best of 6. We ran them both together, but I think next time round we'll just have the best of 6. And don't forget, there are 2 series to get involved in. Next time there's one on Wahoo RGT and the parallel one. There's John Sammet in the group, so we know he's playing it safe. He's just taking the draft in there. Remember, with steering as well, you've got to be alert to get the draft. You don't get it automatically. You can get barged out of position, but you can manoeuvre into better places to get better drafts too. So John Sammet just sitting in the bunch, making sure that he doesn't waste any energy. Just remember though, 1 point between John and Jan van Oudenaarde, and the problem with that is that nobody can sit pretty. If in fact we'll have a draw if we go if one beats the other if Jan beats John by 1 point, we'll have a tie, and we'll have to look at that. I think historically I've always sort of taken the view that the one who did the most races will have it just out of a kind of loyalty, but we'll look at that and see what we can come up with. We have had to do tiebreakers before, and I just kind of look at the fairest way of doing it that I can. But as I say, I think primarily you look at the one who's raced the most. I think these two have probably raced every race, so we're going to have to probably look at something else for that. This was totally unexpected at the advent of the time. So Liam Bard now pushing off at the front again. Marion Marasek, and you can see how it stretches it. And James Melville right at the back of that group. Can't see James getting dropped, but it does happen. It does happen. So as I say, John Sammer and Jan van Oudenaarde are the two that probably eyeing each other closely. Not to say that Nick Greenhalgh and Wouter Claes aren't keeping a close eye on each other, but I think as long as they both finish in this bunch, it's first place for Nick and second place for Wouter. Now, of course, No Pins R3R looks set to take the team prize, and they have raced exceptionally well. It's a shame almost that they haven't got riders challenging at the top of the GC, but collectively they have lit up so many races. And just look at Liam Bard now, absolutely putting the pressure on the front, and this is not the first time in this race, lighting it up. So a very deserved team win, I think, for No Pins R3R, and well done Matt Looker and your team for putting all this together. As we complete another lap, we're now in 6 laps in, and Teppers, Jan van Beurs in there, Paul Hinson, Roy the Rocket Neal, and we've got Teppers, Lumet, the French rider in there, Kunai, the Japanese as well. It just shows you how international these races are. And it's so I know some organisers put several races on at different times. I'm not really, I don't have the capacity to do that, and I think it's phenomenal that people race from all different time zones in these, and fair play to you, it makes it worth the while putting these on. Just look how many No Pins R3R jerseys there are in there, the sort of pink on the left and sort of blue, dark blue and light blue on the right, collectively doing very, very well. And I think couple of Westerly riders in there. I see John Samet for Poker Motion and Draft. That's Ned Bowen in the red. Who else have we got? Certainly Ratio Racing have got riders in there as we complete another lap for that group. I wonder how the ladies are getting on further back as Nick Greenhalgh takes a turn on the front, and be interesting to see the riders further back. Still got I think 66 riders online, so not too many dropouts. Hopefully nobody that's in a podium position. We go a bit further back. Golden Thacker there have been dropped by the main group. We're lapping some other riders there with Murray and Jones. Twickenham's Masonardi, Italian rider, Snazzy Pastel there, Riggins, Holden and Sutherland all in that little group as we look back. Still not quite. And there's Claire Miller. Claire Miller is, she's still with Serena Race, but I think it's Laura Whittingham that is Brett Smith in that little group as we see moving back. We're not quite back at further back. What have we got? Rogers now. And there's Claire Miller in the dark blue strip. Serena Race in the React jersey, the light blue. Both following each other and working together. This race is going to be between these two. I see Bailey for Moon Riders. Daniel Gorn riding for West London. Gilmore at 54. I think Laura Whittingham may not be riding, in which case it looks as though Claire Miller could be in with a shout of the Ladies' League. Now, the thing is, and here's the issue, it rather depends on how many points you get, because the Ladies' League is based on your best 6 races. And if you happen to ride in a race where, I don't know, the First Lady finishes 70th, you will get less points than if the First Lady finishes 40th, and the countdown is less. So we really won't know till we process the results whether Claire can do this or not, but she's certainly in with a chance, and you wouldn't begrudge her. I mean, I'm sure Laura would, but she's had 2 dropouts in recent races, and it's inhibited her chance of catching up. So the points she gets today aren't going to be enough on their own, but if she can get a substantially high place, she might be in with a chance. And if she can finish, let's say, if you finish above 50th, you will get more than 50 points, and that may just be enough. If she's had a bad race where there's only 20 points or something, give her an extra 30 odd points. So I think it's going to be tight. I think Laura Whittingham's probably reasonably safe, I would say. Paul Henderson in focus now. I think Laura Whittingham's probably safe, but by not racing, it does give the impetus to Claire Miller. Exciting stuff, isn't it? As we clock round, we're now sort of 12.3 kilometres into. We've only got 3 laps left. Jan Razak is off the front now. 200 metres. That's quite a big gap. Pushing out 6 watts per kilogram, which does seem rather high, and I think that might be questioned. Let's say that is quite high. Let's have a look at the output. There'll probably be some questions about the average wattage on that one. Back down to 4, so it might have been just a bit of effort. Stevie Cooper on the front now, 240 metres for Jan Razak. It's probably safe to say that was probably about right. So the other riders, I was looking at Kanay putting out similar wattage to Jan Razak there. So we'll have a look at that, but I think it might not be as odd as it first looked. Let's have a look at this aerial view now. The rider at the back not getting dropped, that's the rider being lapped as they come around just up this gentle rise now. And you see Nick Greenhalgh's name in there. I think all the main players are still in there. Whether Jan Raz is going to stay out there, 240 metres. It hasn't actually extended. Putting out 5 plus watts per kilogram steadily, and that is, as I say, that's quite a lot for these races. But you don't always automatically assume that. Sometimes there are very strong riders who come along and do these races and show us exactly what they're made of. Back up over 6 though for Jan Razak. So we shall see. Ray Wilson leading the chase now, putting out 5.7 watts per kilogram, and as I say, he's probably almost, I think, matching Jan Razak and at the front there. But I have to say, he's pulled out 70 metres on James Melville, and yet the distance up to Jan Razak is not diminishing a lot. So we'll have to look at that. Johan Aaron next to go. We're down into the penultimate lap. This is where the attacks need to start, and this is where people need to chase everybody down. Jan Linden for Pokemotion now going out on the front. Jan Razak is still heavily in the lead, but some of these chases might just change that. Ray Wilson now is only 170 behind Jan Razak, so maybe this is going to be closer than we thought. Jan Razak putting in a bit more effort though, nudging it up to 200 metres. Jan Linden for Pokemotion now in 3rd place, leading the charge. Nick Greenhalgh just behind. Nick Greenhalgh coming through. Alistair McAlpine in there too. John Sammer is in there. Where's Jan van Oudenaarde? He's probably in there. Ned Bowen in there. I see Steve Bradley. All in the mix here. Wouter Clays, of course. Jan van Oudenaarde now up into 4th place. So between him and John Sammer, that is the one together. John Sammer in that white jersey, you can see 7th place at the moment. The GBR jersey that Pokemotion wear. Jan Razak now 196 metres ahead of Ray Wilson, pushing out 5.5 kilowatts. Ray Wilson sort of matching him, but not really closing the gap. So that has to be seen. It's going to be an emphatic win for Jan Razak in there. Tim Cummins, featured rider at the moment for Westerly, of course, in the purple jersey, and did have a teammate up there. Yeah, Will Brown's in there as well. So they've managed to stay the distance on a local track for them. And Sesson in there for Italy. Andrzej Kajewski from Manchester. As they hit the last lap, this is the one where it's all going to be decided as we go gently up the hill. And Jan Mazik he's clear, isn't he? He's going to take this. Ray Wilson is probably a shoe-in for second place now. Kilometres to go. The pack could catch, but I don't think it is. Roy Rocket Neal now. Moon Riders on third place. The bunch still together, fighting out the third place backwards. And there's a little burst out there by one of the Wesley riders I see. Ray Wilson, it's Will Brown. And I think the pack is probably going to swallow him up fairly quickly. John Sammet going for it. John Sammet knows, he just knows he's got to cling on to this third place. Mazik is clear for the win, I think. He's only got 500 metres to go. Ray Wilson hits off. He's only got half a lap to go. Ray Wilson now well clear of John Sammet, but John Sammet being chased down by one. Jan Vanner, who else? Oh, look at this. This is going to be neck and neck. It's going to be so exciting. Sammet and Vanner now battling out for that last podium position. Jan Mazik is going to take the race. Ray Wilson is probably shooting for second now. But the battle between Sammet and Vanner is going to be so exciting. They are neck and neck. There's 180 metres left for the winner. And Nick Greenhouse just in front of Jan Vanner. Nick Greenhouse pulling away, making sure that he takes the title in third place. Jan Mazik now coming round to the finishing line. He's going to take the race. And we are assuming Ray Wilson will take second place. Here comes Ray. But just look behind him. Nick Greenhouse powering away. He's going to make sure that he wins it. Wouter plays in ninth place. He's probably not good. He's about 30 metres behind Nick, as Sesson takes his third place, and it was Nick Greenhouse got in there. But out of Sammet beats Vanner. Sammet holds on, and look how close that was. It was just 2 places. John Sammet takes a third podium position. Wouter Clays gets second in the series. Absolutely amazing. Great win for Ramzak, and Ray Wilson is another superb ride from the No Pins rider, and they will be taking the team prize as we go back to the Netherlander. Hele is coming in 32nd at the moment. Stuart Gillies for Twickenham CC is 33rd, and just behind him, I'd say it's about 180 metres behind him, but he'll be the next finisher, I believe. Jones from Wales is 34th, Murray at 35th, Raspin's 36th, and Sutherland 37th. And we can see the top 10. Scott Yarosh in 10th, Jan Vanner taking 9th, but just agonisingly close to John Sammet, who was superb in attacking in that last lap. Jan Verlinden between the two of them, making sure that John Sammet has the comfort of about 3 points in the top. Wouter Clays having it settled for second in the series, but will win the 6 of the best. Great to see Ned Powen up there, 5th place. He hasn't had the best of seasons in this series, twice winner of the series before. It hasn't all gone his way, so it's nice to see him back up there, much winner. Marino Sesson, another one of the standard good riders that we see, taking third behind Ray Wilson, with that great solo effort behind Jan Mazik's solo win by a long distance, the US rider. So, looking back, we're back at 32nd. Hele now is coming in 32nd. It's nice to see the other riders coming back in, give them a chance to feature in the commentary. 11th, Alistair McAlpine from Glasgow United, Johan Aaron. 12th, Jorgen van Beurts, Ratio Racing. 3rd, Steve Briley, 14th. Yuji Kanai, 15th. Lau Mei, the French rider, at 16th. James Melville, Glasgow United, 17th. Neil Walker, OTR, 18th. Will Brown, Wesley, 19th. Andrew Krajewski, 20th for Ratio Racing. Murray comes in 34th position, just taking a little bit of a sprint and taking that place from Jones. Sutherland, the South African rider, coming in next, as we see Roland coming in after that for Moon Riders 2, 39th. Gautam Thakkar now just putting his head down. He's got Snazzy Pastel on his tail, but Gautam taking the place there. And Tota Kanawala from RGT France is coming in at 41st in yellow and black. As you can see on the right hand side, Paul Henderson at 29th, Rocket Roy Neal 27th, Andrew Beale 26th, Tim Cummins 25th, Simon Hall from Watford Velo at 24th, just behind Glasgow United's Stevie Cooper, and Richard Ackers 22nd, React, turning up, getting in there. Ingmar van Beurs at Ratio Racing at 21st, and I think I missed out Liam Baird at 28th. And how much work did Liam do on the front? Absolutely superb. And Marion Mahasek put in some spurts on the front too. Twickenham's Mastrodonato is 42nd, and Claire Miller at 45th. If she can hold that, that's going to be a good points haul. We will have to go do the maths. I really can't tell you whether that's enough to get her third position. But boy, that is going to be one hell of a ride. Well done, Claire. And I have to say, I saw Claire out on a 200-kilometre ride on Saturday. I wasn't expecting to, just bumped into each other. And she looked on fine form, but she's racing tonight after doing a 200-kilometre ride on Saturday. So fair play to her as Hessen comes in. Brett Smith now, West London. Oh, will he hold on? He's being chased by Chessman. And I think Brett's not quite going to do it as Chessman just takes that place away. Or can Brett put a last-minute bit in? Tries, closes the gap a little, but not enough. Rogers taking 40th. Here comes Claire Miller now. And she's got 48th. A bit down from 45th when we looked a moment ago. Serena Race, just one place behind her as well. So the ladies' race decided by one place. Claire Miller will get the 100 points in the ladies' league, but it is a case of she has to have a race that drops out that probably needs to be about 60 points or something like that. So if she's got a bad race in her best six, this could be enough. Look at FBB, the American rider now, just in ahead of Bailey, 50th place. Mr. Karen Bailey from Moon Riders coming in there at 51st. And maybe not, actually. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a spurt. This could be an interesting sprint. 250 metres to go. And Bailey's going round. Bailey taking on the front position. Will FEB sit on the wheel? FEB not looking beaten yet. The distance is diminishing, 70 metres. The finishing line is coming into sight. Bailey holding on, and FEB gets out of the saddle, but it's not enough. Bailey takes the place. Great little sprint there. And we've got Gilmore coming in next, 52nd. 300 metres ahead of Danielle Gaunt, who's riding for West London. And I think that's be a comfortable finish. Pushing out at 34 kph, nearly 35. But no real pressure to sprint at the end, as there is a comfortable 300 metres back to the next rider, around Danielle Gaunt. And here's Danielle riding in for West London. And she is, likewise, is not under any particular pressure. 100 metres back to the next rider. And I think she'll just enjoy the finish as she goes past Gavin Grant of Twickenham. I'm assuming Gavin must be on a different lap. He is, because if you're looking at 58th, poor old Gavin there. Gavin down in the south of France, and I'm sure the weather where he is better than here in West London, where it's actually pouring with rain. Well done, Danielle, and she rounds off the season with a 53rd place in this particular race. We've got other riders coming in now and finishing off. Uhez at 54th. Malcolm Murdoch from Uxbridge coming in 55th, and great to see Malcolm on here. He's new to RGT. He's been riding with us on Cade Sports for a little while, but just come over to RGT Wahoo to ride on both series, and I think he's thoroughly enjoying it. And fairly new to virtual racing, but getting stuck in absolutely. Well done, Malcolm. And Reese coming in 55th. We've got a few. I see Lisa Snell's in there at 61st. Gavin Grant at 59th. Carmo, the German rider. Camo Olgara, 58th. Something has gone wrong. No, that's there's something awry there, because that must have been a crash or something like that. Karen Bailey at 50th. Moon Riders, fantastic finish. Look at that, 3 lady riders, 48th, 49th and 50th. Great to see them so close together. The Ladies League is really getting better and better, and some of these girls are putting in some great performances. Reese comes in to take 56th place. Camel Walligara, I can only assume it was dropout. Now, in the commentary of the last race I assumed that somebody had a dropout, and they just hadn't, and they did contact me to say I got it wrong. So I do put the caveat in that I'm guessing something's gone wrong with Camel, because Camel's quite a strong rider. But it happens, and it's great to see that people don't give up when it does go wrong. And Camel coming in, and you can see 41 kph, you can see what a strong rider Camel is. So fair play to you for getting up and getting on with it. That's what we like to see. And we talk about, and Danielle Gaunt was only about 4 places behind the front 3 lady riders. So quite an interesting race from the ladies' perspective there. Camel comes back as 50 metres to go as he swings around that corner and under the finishing line. Canada coming up next, a regular rider, great to see, coming in at 58th position. Gavin Grant will finish behind that. Karma behind that. Lisa Snell, Van der Laan, one of the Twickenham riders, and H. Smiths. Haven't seen Harry Smiths for ages. It's 2 kilometres back, so I think something might have gone wrong. But no, great to see him in the race. Monty at 64th. We've still got riders to finish here. Gavin Grant coming home, and he'll probably look out at a nice south of France mountain view of the Pyrenees. Lisa Snell, lovely to see Lisa riding again from Greenford, from the cycling family. Always puts her all in. She'd been really set on doing all 13 races, and the internet packed in on one of them, and I think she's only done 12 out of the 13. But she's a valiant rider, and we love her. An integral part of West London cycling, as you can see from the kit and jersey. We're proud to have her in the club and in the team as she finishes off the last 400 metres. She lives fairly local to this, so she'll know the real course like the back of her hand. And her son is both a cyclist and a photographer. Quite often takes photographs of the cycle races on this course. So I'm sure her house is plastered with pictures of the real Hillingdon circuit here. So don't forget, Series 7 starts on RGT in 2 weeks' time, but on Cade Sport in 1 week's time. We will be running parallel series on both platforms. You can choose which one you want to do. You can even do both if you want. But Series 7, we're going to have a playoff at the end between the winners of each series. The courses will be identical. They're slightly different platforms, so it's not quite the same skills, but we're looking for skillful riders as Lisa rolls in. So don't miss out. Go on www.westlondoncycling.com to get all the details. But as I say, we're basically going for the skillful steering-based platforms and running 2 parallel series, one on our Wahoo RGT, where we've been racing now for 3 years. This rounds off the end of our 3rd year. We go into our 4th year on Wahoo RGT with Series 7. As I say, there's 2 Series 7s running parallel, so every Wednesday we'll have a race on, but not necessarily on the same platform. So look out for all of that. Van der Laan, now I believe Twickenham rider, Harry Smith's just behind him, enjoying a little 27 kph home. They've only got, they're on the last lap. They've probably about a third of the way through the last lap with the kilometres to go as they go round the bend here. And yes, they're coming back up to the ramp now, aren't they? So it's see just the ramp. You see the avatar lift up a little bit, and the gradient goes up to 3.3%. It's not great, but you can attack there. And you can see that Smiths gets dropped a little bit by Van der Laan, but not too much, and probably pull this back because it starts to slope downwards as you get around this bend. You get around the halfway stage. We go under the halfway banner, the purple banner over the top. Actually, the gap is moving out a little bit, so it looks like Van der Laan might have just done that because he's got the long straight to go. In real life, the long straight, if you're doing it in this direction, you're quite often into the wind, but if you're not, it can be exceedingly fast. No wind on Wahoo RGT, of course, so that's not going to be a factor. Can Smith make back the? Can he make back the distance? I think it's closing down a little bit, isn't it? He's probably going to do that. We've got Manti just behind at 600 metres, and Smith has got it back. So with 500 metres to go, which one of these two is going to win? Are they going to play cat and mouse, or are they just going to ride in as a couple of friends on a social ride? I doubt that very much. You wouldn't be here if you didn't just fancy yourself taking on a little sprint. The reason we don't raid the riders on these things is because we like the idea that you can have these little races and you naturally end up riding alongside people of your standard. Smits is going for it. He sees his opportunity. 300 metres to go. He's out a bit early. His legs aren't moving. He's stopped pedaling. I hope that's not a dropout. The legs should be moving. They're moving again now. That's just something on the pictures, I think. Van der Laan has not been dropped though. Van der Laan now. Will he take a punt at 250 metres to go? No, he's sitting tight on the wheel. Remember, with steering, you can sit exactly on the wheel and get the draft. Unlike the old days, this is what makes it so much more exciting. Van der Laan now sitting on the wheel very carefully. They're playing cat and mouse because they're only riding at 16 kph. They are not. So they are lining up for a sprint. This is cat and mouse, 140 metres to go, and they're slowing down. So they are both wanting this position. This is how it should be. You can see the start-finish line in the distance, 70 metres to go, and they're still only in 20 kph. He drops down to 17. Where you think it's somebody's got to sprint now? Go! Somebody's got to go for it, and it's Van der Laan goes for it. This is absolutely brilliant. I think they might have actually both been really tired out. Van der Laan taking that one. Wasn't that great fun? Manti from France at 64, the last rider to finish today. He's got 300 metres to go in that sky blue kit. Just overtaking one of the bots that does the film work for us. Very much big thanks to ZMS for producing this as ever. Wonderful graphics and wonderful production. Damon Bates behind ZMS. If you want your races or if you want anything broadcast, he's the man to go to. He's got a brilliant studio which can do all these effects and things like that. So thank you very much, Damien, as ever, for putting on the production. And thank you very much, everybody who raced, everybody who watched. And Series 7, well, it's 7 days away. See you next time. Been absolutely fantastic having your company. Thanks.